Hey YouTube, today I'm going to be talking about team building, not hero building. If you want to talk about artifacts and stones, we can do that another time. Today I'm going to be talking about lineups and the specific order you want to put your heroes in and why. Another thing as well, heroes that you can put with heroes just to get the best out of them and which heroes you should use. I see the questions all the time on Facebook, on Reddit, on Discord, people saying, hey, here's my team, which hero should I use, what order should I put them in? And today I hope that I can answer these questions for you, because that's a really prominent question in the community, and hopefully this video will be a one-stop shop for everyone that needs help. So let's get straight in there and let's get on the same page. Let's talk about slots. We've got slot 1, slot 2, that's your front line, and slot 3, 4, 5, and 6, that's your back line. This is how I'm going to refer to these slots for the rest of the video with these numbers, so if that makes sense, we'll be okay. As you can see at the bottom, that's how the slots appear in Arena, and up top, that's how they appear in the fight screen. So, why is this important? Well, different attacks hit different slots. Basic attacks, they go for slot 1. Frontline attacks, they hit slots 1 and 2. Backline attacks hit 3, 4, 5, and 6. They all do exactly what you expect. Now, the next ones are a little trickier. Spread attacks hit 3 or 4 random opponents, so have the potential to hit any slot on your team, so everyone's at risk. Mass attacks hit every single person on your team, and targeted attacks will hit a specific hero because they fulfill a requirement. It could be the hero with the highest attack, the hero with the lowest health. It doesn't matter. It has a specific criteria that that hero has filled that has caused them to be hit. They could be in any slot, they will get hit. Now, there's another thing we need to consider, and that's CC, or crowd control. That's stun, petrify, silence, any form of stopping your opponent's heroes doing what they want to do. Now, this is important because most crowd controls are unpredictable. Most are mass or spread attacks that you can't dodge, you can't get around, they'll hit you regardless where you put your heroes. However, there are a few that matter and you should, absolutely should, play around. First is Kameth. Kameth has a backline petrify with a 20 or 35% chance, depending on whether he's using his basic or his active. If you're running a team that's fighting Kameths, you need to be aware that 3, 4, 5, and 6 are at risk of petrifies, but your 1 and 2 slots are safe. It's important, it's relevant, bear that in mind. Next is Corpse Demon. He's the opposite. He provides frontline CC. He hits with 70% chance of freeze on 1 and 2. Your backline is safe against this, so if you're facing Corpse Demons, your backline doesn't really need to worry about that too much, but your frontline should be scared. Next, we've got Walter. Now, Walter doesn't see a lot of play, but he will hit you for 100% stun chance against one of your heroes on the backline. So if your backline isn't prepared for that, you could end up with his basic attack, just popping and stunning your heroes and punishing you and setting you back. So if you're not ready or prepared for that, you're going to get punished. So you need to build your team accordingly. Finally, we have Dark Arthendal. Now, Dark Arthendal's basic hits with 55% chance on your frontline slot 1 hero. Now, as I mentioned before, basic attacks will hit slot 1 and Dark Arthendal's is no different. So your slot 1 hero is the only hero at risk here against the 55% petrify. So they are the predictable slot-specific attacks that you need to be aware of and that could CC your team. The hero that's the exception is Valentino, and he is problematic. He is a massive threat in the meta, and if you're not ready, you should be, because it's terrifying. He has a 0% stun on his first strike, a 30% stun on his second strike, and a third strike hits for 50% stun. That doesn't seem too bad. Well, it does when you look at his fourth strike. That's 100% chance to stun, and the way these strikes land is they hit in order of the hero's slots. So it picks 4 heroes and then strikes them in their slot order. So the last hero in the slot order is gonna get whacked by that 100% chance stun. And that's important because it can only be slot 4, 5, and 6. There is no mathematical or logical way it won't be those because these 4 strikes land in slot order. So, slot 4 has an 8% chance to get hit by this 100% strike. Slot 5 has a 33% chance to get hit by it, and slot 6 has a whopping 58% chance. If you aren't ready for this, your hero in slot 6 or slot 5, there's a 92% chance it's going to hit one of them two, and they have a 100% chance to get stunned. They will get stunned. If you're not ready for this, it's gonna hurt. So you need to predict it and play around it. Well, how do we do that? Well, let's get into the discussion. First, slot 5 and 6 are highest at risk. Slot 4 is lowest at risk, but the risk is still there. Now, slot 1. This is your reactive slot. It's the slot that will get hit by basic attacks and general attacks the most. Therefore, the assumption is, hey, let's run this hero as a tank, because they're going to take loads of damage, they're going to stay alive. Well, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. It really doesn't matter, because active skills do the most damage, and they're usually spread or mass, and they could hit any slot, right? Slot 1 isn't going to take the beating that you think they will, because basic attacks don't usually hit for that much. Or, if they do, they're specifically targeting other heroes anyway. Now, I want your slot hero to be a reactive hero, a hero that does something when they are attacked. And that could be Char, who when she blocks an attack, gains crit. It could be Scary, who when he's hit, he gains crit, because he tags your opponent with a mark. It could be Barton, who when he's hit, he counterattacks all opponents. It could be Horus. You know, all these heroes, they do different things when they're hit. It could be a counterattack, it could be a debuff, it could be a self buff, or it could even be CC in the case of Corpse Demon, right? These heroes all do something when they're struck. There are 3 heroes I always see in slot 1s that upset me. I see Berea. People assume, right, he's got high health pool, he's a warrior, gotta stick him in slot 1. No, he doesn't do anything in slot 1, there is no advantage, don't do it. Michelle. People think high health pool, she resurrects when she dies, she'll be a great tank. Well, don't run a tank, tanks are useless, they don't matter anymore. And Michelle shouldn't be used as a slot 1 hero. If you're doing it, move her now, and you'll see where to move her soon. But I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. Same goes for Valkyrie. Just because she has 6.15 million health doesn't mean you pop her in slot 1. I want a reactive hero in slot 1, not a hero with lots of health. I want to do something when I'm hit rather than just soak up the damage. So these heroes, I don't want them. I want reactive heroes. So put one of those in your slot 1. Now, slot 2, it's the safety slot. It's the slot for a hero that isn't going to take a beating. Because as you saw, most stun or most petrify, it all hits the back line. So slot 2 is safe. They're safe from CC, so they're off and able to do their thing. Heroes that want to do their thing are usually support heroes or burst heroes. We've got Amavor, who has massive burst. We have Belrain, who can heal and support your team. We have Scary, who wants to rack up and do burst. You know, we've got all these heroes that support or burst or heal or whatever. They all provide an essential role that they need to be un-CC'd to do. And that's why you want them in slot 2, because they can stay safe. It's the safety slot. Next, it's slot 3. Now, slot 3 is the sub-slot. It's the slot for heroes that didn't quite make it. So if you want a reactive hero that didn't quite make it into slot 1, you can run them here in slot 2. If you want a safety hero that didn't quite make it into slot 2, you can run them here. Slot 3 is the gem slot for the hero that you want to run, but they didn't quite make slot 1 or 2. So pop them in there and you'll be fine. Usually it'll be a hero that can take a little bit more of a beating or is a little bit more control immune than the other one you'd put in slot 2. Also, you need to remember, if you have a speed tie between slot 2 and slot 3, slot 2 will always go first. So if you have an Amavor, for example, who gets bonuses from your opponents using their active skills, because he gains energy and can use his own himself, you want to put the hero with an energy artifact, who is speed tied with Amavor, in slot 2. So they'll go off first, they'll use their active skill, and Amavor will gain energy, so he in turn can use his. If you have them the other way around, the order won't work. So that's something you need to remember and something you need to consider. Speed ties, and also the fact that your hero in slot 2 should generally be the weaker one, but you can still put safety slot heroes in slot 3, no problem whatsoever. Now, slot 4, 5 and 6, if you haven't already gathered, there is a strategy to playing around CC, and I'm going to talk about it now. And this punishes people who just want to CC you and control you. This is the great way of playing around opponents who are really, really irritating you with all their control. Now, Mim, he's control immune. DH, she becomes control immune when she uses her active skills, so give her an energy artifact. Michelle, she's also completely control immune, and Valkyrie, when she gets CC'd, she does damage, and she can heal herself, so she really doesn't care. So I'm going to give these 4 heroes complete control immune status. They don't mind at all. They completely take it, and they get benefits from it, or they just soak it up and punish your opponent for trying to CC them, because they get no benefit out of their CC heroes. Next, we have stun immunity, and this is really important against opposing Valentinos. As we discussed, slots 5 and 6 have a 92% chance to get stunned. So if Valentino and Faithblade are in one of those slots, they can soak up that 100% strike and say no, no, no to opposing Valentinos. Kamath, he has Petrify immune, so he can actually counter opposing Kamets if you put them on the back line. So that's a useful thing to remember. Finally, we've got Amavor and Corpse Demon. Amavor is silence immune, but sadly there's no silence that specifically goes for the back line, so you won't really get much use on 4, 5, or 6 with him. Same goes for Corpse Demon, there's no specific freeze, and he's freeze immune. So these heroes, even though they do have some immunity, won't see much benefit being in 4, 5, and 6. You might actually prefer to run them in better slots that better suit their playstyle. Amavor, for example, wants to be burst and could be better used in slot 2. Corpse Demon, he is a reactive hero. He freezes when he's hit. He might be better used in slot 1, or could be an anti-meta pick. You could run him in 3 and 4 to stop people when they use their burst. Either or, it doesn't really matter, but they won't see immediate benefits being in 4, 5, and 6. So, let's take everything we've discussed and use it in an example team. We want to discuss a team, so let's go with Rainbow. It's the most commonly used, and you use one hero from every faction, so it gives us a little limitation that we can try and fit into this aura. So, let's consider slot 1 first. If we take a quick look at the tier list, you'll see that Char, Scary, Barton, and Horus are arguably the best 4 heroes that you can have in slot 1. Now, it's an arbitrary pick at this point. They're all pretty level heroes, and you just pick whichever one you can build your team around, or whichever one you have access to yourself. Now for me, I have King Barton, so I'm going to choose him, and I really like him. He's a cool hero. Let's go with him. So let's pop him in, and let's build a King Barton Rainbow team. First things first, we can't consider any more Abyss heroes, so we need to bear that in mind. And if we move on to slot 2, the only heroes that leaves that will be good in slot 2 are Amavor, Belrain, Faithblade, and Jara. Now, Belrain for me is one of the best heroes in the game. She provides amazing healing and has an amazing attack buff, both of which will really benefit King Barton's playstyle. So I'm going to pick her, because she can stay safe in slot 2 and do the buff and support that she needs to make King Barton do his best. That knocks Light out, so we're just left now with Shadow, Fortress, Forest, and Dark. Slot 3, that's our subordinate pick, and I think Char, Valkyrie, or Jara could all be alright picks here. Sadly though, Char, she's a Fortress hero, and I would much rather run Valentino because he provides stun, and King Barton does more damage against stunned opponents, so the synergy there is too great to pass up on, so we can ignore her. I think Valkyrie, because she has the potential complete control immunity in the fact that she doesn't mind getting CC'd and she heals and does damage from it, I think she's better ran in slots 4, 5, and 6. So therefore, that just leaves Jara. Considering that all our team has at the moment is stun, and will get stopped by opposing Valentinos and Faithblades, remember that playing around CC works both ways. We will need a Jara if we want to stop a Faithblade or a Valentino from hitting our team, because Jara provides much needed freeze and petrify that those heroes are not immune to. Moving on, we've now got slots 4, 5, and 6, and with the factions left, we've only got really 5 to choose from. Valentino, he's an instant pick. He's the only decent fortress left, and he has amazing synergy with King Barton. It would be foolish not to choose him. Demon Hunter, she's a great pick too. She can silence opponents, and that forces them, because when they're silenced they only use their basic attack, to hit slot 1. And if they hit slot 1, they'll trigger the reactive playstyle of King Barton. Sadly though, Valkyrie is too good of an option to pass up on, so I'm going to ignore Demon Hunter for this one and choose Valkyrie. We're left now with the choice between Mim and Amavor. Amavor though is an assassin, and we've already invested in every other class. It would be crazy to pick an assassin as well. Guild tech is a really important thing to consider, and when you're forced to put different specs into different classes, it can stretch you thin and make your team weaker if you can't back them up with the guild tech. You'll often lose to opponents who have much tighter teams with less tech if you have a much broader team that doesn't have any tech to back them up. Remember, tier lists assume that heroes have max tech. It assumes they have the best artifacts and best armor, all that stuff. So if you don't, you might actually lose to lower tiered teams because they are much better equipped to deal with fights than your team is because you haven't got the right equipment, or you, most importantly, haven't got the right guild tech. So I don't want to spread our guild tech too thin. I'm going to remove the assassin. So that leaves us with our 3 heroes left to pop into our team. Valkyrie's gone to slot 4 because she provides an alright amount of control immune, but not enough to credit 5 and 6, because Valentino and Mim are completely immune to stun, and they stop Valentino strikes hitting them with that 100% chance to strike. It's really important to play around that, and if you guys aren't, you will probably get punished by opposing Valentinos. But there you go, that is an example team using the principles I've mentioned just to build a pretty standard King Barton Rainbow team with really good meta heroes. If your team looks like this and competitive, I'm pretty sure you'll be very successful. I hope this video has been really informative and has helped you with ideas for team building and playing around heroes that maybe be problematic for you. If you liked it, you can like and subscribe. If you didn't, let me know in the comments section on where I can improve. If you want to get in touch with me, you can join on Discord, you can talk to me on Twitch when I'm live, and of course, you can always get in touch on Facebook. I'm available on Reddit as well when I'm live, and you can also message me there too. So guys, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys about how I think people should build their teams and the whole methodology behind it. If you found this useful, thanks, give me a thumbs up, I'll see you guys soon. As always, happy idling.